Manchester City preparing a shock deal with Real Madrid. Which superstar is moving to England? Mourinho signs a key defender from Arsenal. Grealish to Everton. A sensation or a logical step? And is Harry Kane swapping the Bundesliga for La Liga? All that and loads more in today's episode. But before we get into it, as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Ready? Let's jump into the latest transfer rumors. Rodrygo to Manchester City? The rumors have gathered pace again, and this time it seems serious. Fabrizio Romano reports that Pep Guardiola sees the Brazilian as an ideal summer target and is a great admirer of his. Real Madrid are apparently willing to let the winger go if he requests a move. The asking price is around 100 million euros. A substantial fee, but here's the catch. Does Rodrygo himself want to leave or not? Previously, he seemed intent on fighting for his place in Madrid, and there weren't many real contenders for his signature. PSG have ruled themselves out, Liverpool are looking at Isak, and Arsenal need to sell someone first. So why have the rumors flared up again? Because City are seemingly preparing a clear-out on the flanks. Graham Bailey writes that if Grealish, McAtee, and even Savio depart, City will have both the funds and a spot in the squad, and that detail changes everything. This is where the pieces of the puzzle start to fall into place. And you know what other puzzle is missing a piece? My channel's statistics. There are views, there are likes, but in the subscribers column, there's a gaping hole the size of some footballers' egos. You are that missing piece. Let's complete this puzzle together. Hit the subscribe button. For Real Madrid, a genuine buyer has finally emerged, ready to pay a large sum for a player who, let's be honest, is no longer a guaranteed starter with Mbappe's arrival. Sitting on the bench in his prime years? That's hardly an appealing prospect for a Brazil international. And then Guardiola himself calls. Only one thing remains: to convince Rodrygo, and that is Pep's main task. If Guardiola succeeds, a deal that recently seemed unlikely could suddenly become very real. Madrid would get their 100 million euros, a solid boost to the club's finances after their summer spending, and City would get a quality reinforcement on the wing, which they desperately need after an inconsistent season. And Rodrygo himself? A way out of Mbappe and Vinicius' shadow and a key role at a top club? Too good to be true? Perhaps. But when Pep is involved and personally wants a player, anything can happen very quickly. It seems this story truly has all the makings of one of the biggest transfers of the summer. So, an official bid for Alexander Zinchenko has just landed from Fenerbahce. A Turkish journalist, Serkan Hamzaoğlu, was the first to drop this one. They're saying their sporting director, Devin Ozek, even nipped over to England himself for a chat with the player and his people. The latest info is that Arsenal want 15 million euros for the Ukrainian. On top of that, the Gunners seem ready to make things as easy as possible if the Turks can sort out personal terms with Zinchenko. But here's the thing. For some reason, the English media are quiet about it. And we all know how often the Turkish press links Arsenal players to their clubs, and half the time it comes to nothing. This time, though, the interest looks pretty serious. To be fair, Zinchenko himself has completely lost his way at Arsenal lately. A couple of seasons back, he was their main left back, and now, well, you've all seen it. So for Arsenal, selling him makes sense. They paid 30 million euros for him, and there's no way they're getting that back. But 15 million, given his contract is up next summer, is a decent fee. What's also massive is that Jose Mourinho supposedly sees Zinchenko as a holding midfielder, that proper number 6. A pretty bold and interesting move, if you ask me. Anyway, the meeting between the Fenerbahce director and Arsenal has already happened. If Alex gives it the nod, this deal could get done very fast. So the big question, is this a good career move for Zinchenko, or are Arsenal just trying to get him off their books? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And there it is. The next patient is off to Saudi Arabia. And who is it? The man made of glass himself, Kingsley Coman. Al Nassr are offering Bayern a frankly ridiculous 30 million euros for him, and offering Coman a massive 25 million euros a year contract. That is double his salary in Munich, by the way. And you know, this whole transfer, unlike so many others, has flawless logic from every angle. Let's be brutally honest. Coman is 29 and gets injured more than he plays. At Bayern, competition is insane, new signings are coming, and his starting spot is not guaranteed. The obvious move? You take the last gigantic contract of your career. It's a golden parachute, and Bayern, they come out of this smelling of roses. To shift an injury-prone player who is past his prime for 30 million is a stroke of genius. They'll reinvest that money in a heartbeat on someone younger and more reliable. It's a win-win. As for the Sheikhs, they get another superstar name for the posters: Ronaldo, Mané, Koeman. It sounds powerful, but we all know it's just window dressing. You can understand Koeman's decision, but let's be clear, this is not about football. It's about business and securing a very, very comfortable retirement. Chelsea are locked on to Xavi Simons and are putting serious pressure on Leipzig. Talks have been on for weeks, but now things have exploded because Christopher Nkunku could be in the deal. Yes, the same Nkunku who has seemingly forgotten how to play since his move to London. 2 seasons, countless injuries, zero impact. The Guardian reports Chelsea are offering Nkunku back to Leipzig, the very club they bought him from 2 years ago for £52 million. His value now? Around €40 million. Simons? 60 million. That means a swap with cash. Guys, don't just watch this one and disappear. Your reaction is huge for the channel. Hit like or dislike, do it now and drop a comment. We'd be massively grateful. Fabrizio Romano confirms it. The conversation is real. The option is on the table. Maresca personally wants Simons to be his creative force in attack. Xavi has versatility, football IQ, and experience beyond his years. After seeing Chelsea's midfield suffer last season, this move is a no-brainer. You feel for Nkunku, of course? The potential is huge, but Chelsea need results today, not when his body decides to perform at 100%. Simons is a bet on smarts and consistency. The only question, can the clubs make it work, and are Leipzig ready to welcome back a former hero? It's a complicated deal, but the message is clear. Chelsea are going all in. Alvaro Morata is changing clubs again. Galatasaray has officially announced the early termination of the Spaniard's loan. This immediately cleared the way for his move to Como. As a reminder, last summer Milan bought Morata from Atletico for €13 million, but he quickly lost his way in Italy and was subsequently sent to Turkey in winter on a deal until January 2026. But then Cesc Fabregas intervened. The Como manager had been monitoring Morata for a while, and Alvaro himself was reportedly open to a change of scenery. Negotiations began for an early loan termination, and here is the result. Galatasaray not only parted ways with the striker but also disclosed the financial details. The contract with Milan was terminated by mutual consent, for which the Italians paid the Turkish club €5 million. Furthermore, Morata himself waived the €651,000 owed to him. It's not every day you see a player voluntarily take a pay cut, but it seems the desire to leave was stronger. From there, it was simple. As soon as Milan transferred the money, the path to Como was open. And, according to insiders, a loan with a €10 million obligation to buy awaits him there. The deal is expected to be finalized very soon. The bottom line, Milan have almost recouped their investment in Morata, Galatasaray made a profit, the player has moved to a place where he is genuinely wanted, and Como will get an experienced forward with a point to prove. Although considering how many times Morata has changed clubs, only one question remains. Will he stay at Lake Como for longer than a cup of coffee? Jack Grealish is now an Everton player. Yes, it sounds wild, but the deal is real, a 1-year loan, with the full agreement of the player and a deal struck with Manchester City. For the Merseysiders, this is a truly symbolic transfer, the first major step into a new era and ahead of the move to Hill Dickinson Stadium. Things went wrong for him under Pep. Grealish was moved to the left wing, constrained by a tactical framework, and his trademark free-roaming style disappeared. Now, Moyes is ready to give Jack what he's been waiting for, freedom on the pitch and a guaranteed starting spot. At 29, he is still more than capable of tearing defenses apart, especially when he feels the manager's trust. The competition for him was fierce. Champions League clubs also wanted to sign Grealish, but Everton were the most persistent and managed to reach an agreement with the citizens. The most difficult part was the £300,000 a week wages. It's unofficially said that City will cover a significant portion of this sum to make the deal happen. From a tactical standpoint, this is an ideal reinforcement. Everton needed a player who could add creativity and unpredictability to their attack, and Grealish can certainly help with that. Plus, with a World Cup season ahead, this is Jack's chance to remind everyone he is still a top-level player. If it all comes together, this transfer could be a pivotal moment for Everton. They'll get a leader, the fans will get a spectacle, and Grealish gets the perfect platform to reboot his career. And if not, well, at least they tried. So, Barcelona think they've found their Lewandowski replacement. The man in question? Harry Kane. Spanish source El Nacional claims the Catalans are ready to stump up big money for the Englishman in summer 2026. And right away, you have to ask questions. Kane finally breaks his trophy curse at Bayern, so he'd want to join a chaotic Barca? I'm not so sure. The rumor is his Bayern contract has a specific clause allowing a 2026 exit. El Nacional is even quoting a €65 million release clause. For a striker who'll be 33 but is still a goal machine, that's a bargain. Last season's stats: 26 goals, 10 assists, 31 Bundesliga games. He's still world class and will be for years. Sound familiar? It's like your loyalty to the channel. You watch every video, you're always here, just like Kane was always there for Tottenham. But we all know how that ended. He left with an empty trophy cabinet. Don't be like Kane at Tottenham. It's time to claim your prize, the subscription to this channel. Let's get it done. So, Barca's plan is to buy a guaranteed goal scorer. But let's get serious. Barcelona, with their mountain of debt, and Harry Kane, one of the highest earners in football, the maths doesn't work. Yeah, €65 million for a transfer fee is one thing, but his wages, the signing bonus, and what's in it for Kane himself, leaving stable, successful Bayern for a club that's been a total mess recently. Of course, seeing Kane in the Blaugrana shirt would be something else. A pure finisher, a leader who can carry a team. He is exactly what they need. His game-winning ability, his intelligence, it's every coach's dream. But while Deco and Laporta know they need him, can they actually finance the deal? Look, it's a massive headline, but right now, it feels like a fairy tale. Too many what-ifs. Time will tell, but I wouldn't hold my breath.